Did you know that Pope Leo XIV and Madonna are related? Yes. What once seemed impossible is actually real. The supreme leader of the Catholic Church and the Queen of Pop share a common ancestor. Stay tuned, because in this video, we'll reveal the hidden family tree that connects the Vatican to the world of entertainment, and what it says about our roots, the history of Canada, and your own family. Like, subscribe, and share, because this isn't some crazy theory. It's a historical discovery confirmed by the New York Times Magazine. Let's begin with this surprising story. The year 2025 brought an unprecedented papal election, the rise of Leo XIV, the first American pope in history, whose birth name is Robert Francis Prezoat, a man shaped by pastoral work in Latin America with deep roots in Peru, and now the visible head of the Catholic Church. His rise to the papacy has not only revitalized dialogue between Christian cultures in North and South America, but has also sparked intense media interest in his origins. The prestigious New York Times Magazine recently published an in-depth feature that has surprised and intrigued readers across the globe. The reason? A genealogical discovery linking Pope Leo XIV to one of the most influential figures in contemporary entertainment, Madonna, the Queen of Pop. And not only that, it also reveals a common ancestor who links the Pope to other celebrities like Justin Bieber, Angelina Jolie, and former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. At the heart of this extended family network is Louis Boucher de Grandpré, a 17th-century French settler who established himself in New France, specifically in what is now Quebec, Canada. This ancestor has become a key figure in understanding how the paths of history, faith, and pop culture can intertwine in unexpected ways. This text dives deep into that surprising connection, the historical context of that ancestry, and what it means that the spiritual leader of millions of Catholics is genetically related to some of the most recognizable icons in popular culture. Robert Francis Prevost was born in Chicago in 1955. But his spiritual life and missionary vocation would take him far beyond. A member of the Order of St. Augustine, he spent over a decade in Chiclayo, Peru, where he carried out intense pastoral work closely connected to vulnerable communities. It was there that he forged his identity as a defender of the marginalized and a promoter of reconciliation. When he was elected as Leo XIV following the resignation of Francis, many saw him as a figure of doctrinal continuity, but with strong symbolic weight, a pope born in the United States, formed in Latin America, and with a global vision for the Church. However, his profile also sparked interest in his genealogy, especially when his roots were traced back to French-speaking Canada. The name Louis Boucher de Grandpré may sound unfamiliar to many, but he was one of many French colonists who emigrated to North America in the 17th century. Settled in Quebec, he was part of France's grand colonial project known as New France, which spanned parts of present-day Canada, Louisiana, and other territories. Louis Boucher and his descendants would become part of the foundational nucleus of French-speaking Quebec, giving rise to family branches that now extend to thousands of people across North America. In this context, it's no surprise that modern genealogy techniques and parish records have managed to establish connections between seemingly unrelated figures, like a pope and a pop star. According to the New York Times Magazine article, the relationship between Leo XIV and Madonna is of the 10th degree, making them distant cousins in genealogical terms. In genealogy, the degrees may seem irrelevant within a close family, but they are significant from a historical and symbolic perspective. Madonna Louise Ciccone, born in 1958 in Michigan, is the daughter of Silvio Ciccone, of Italian descent, and Madonna Louise Fortin, of French-Canadian descent. It is through her maternal line that the singer is linked to the lineage of Louis Boucher. The Fortin family was prominent in New France and has become a subject of genealogical study in both the U.S. and Canada. It's fascinating to think that the same blood running through a revolutionary figure in the world of entertainment also flows through the man leading the Catholic Church. One has redefined art, eroticism, and provocation on the global stage. The other promotes interfaith dialogue, migrant advocacy, and social justice. Could these be two sides of the same historical legacy? Perhaps. After all, both represent different forms of leadership, influence, and transformation in the modern world. The discovery that Pope Leo XIV and Madonna share a distant ancestor opens up an unexpected dimension in how we understand the role of lineage in history. It's not just a curious tidbit, it's essentially evidence of how individual stories, even when seemingly irreconcilable in their life paths, can stem from the same point of origin. In a time when identities are often constructed around difference, genealogy reminds us of the persistent continuity beneath the surface. The story of Louis Boucher de Grand Prix isn't that of a famous man, but of one more settler among hundreds who left their homeland in search of an uncertain future. This realization brings us to a paradox. The major figures of today, often so distant in their values and lifestyles, can be rooted in the same ancestral tree. Moreover, this phenomenon challenges us to see the concept of family differently. Far from the domestic core we typically imagine, it's revealed as a vast web that connects cultures, ideologies, and territories. What does it mean that a traditionalist figure like a pope is related to an artist who has challenged religious, social, and sexual norms? Perhaps it's the most eloquent proof that no bloodline is free from contradictions. It's also significant that this connection comes to light in an era when identity is fragmenting and multiplying. The spread of DNA testing and the digitization of historical archives have allowed millions of people to rediscover roots once thought forgotten or impossible to trace. Thanks to these tools, buried family stories have come to light, reshaping not just personal perceptions of origin, but the collective history of entire communities. In that sense, the relationship between Leo XIV and Madonna should not be seen as a mere anecdote, but as a key to understanding how the cultural and spiritual narratives around us are built. Every surname we carry holds centuries of alliances, migrations, battles, love stories, and silences. The family tree is not just an academic resource, it is also a way to rehumanize public figures, to connect them with broader historical processes that transcend their individual biographies. Perhaps the deepest lesson this connection between the Pope and the singer teaches us is that all of us, regardless of religion, fame, or ideology, share a common history somewhere along the way. And that, far from diluting our differences, might be the strongest foundation for building bridges in a world that seems increasingly focused on building walls. Coincidence? Or a sign that we all share a deeper story than we imagine? Leave your opinion in the comments, because your story matters too. Like, subscribe for more content that brings together history, faith, and culture, and share this with someone you think needs to see it. We'll see you in the next episode of What Nobody Tells You, but Everyone Should Know.